Phoebe, unfortunately, or for not fortunately or unfortunately, you never got to be a teenage boy.
Phoebe, I felt the same way. I thought that I was going to reread this one and be like, regret making those two.
Isaac, I see your note here that I'll just share with everyone. This is maybe your new favorite book.
And I know I say that a lot of notes about the new favorite book for Isaac popping up, but I promise you those are all fake news or false alarms. This is real.
Let's go beyond the first page. Let's go beyond the first page.
Welcome back, Second Pagers. This is Beyond the First Page podcast with siblings Phoebe, Phil, and Isaac. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Phil.
I'm Isaac.
This is Club Meeting 70. We are talking about the overview for Chapter 5, which the Chapter 5 theme is going to be coming of age novels. So if you're new to the podcast, we do chapters, which are short segments, 3 or 4 books, all with the same theme, and we call it a chapter. And we have an overview episode where we give you an insight into each of the books that we read, give some pros and cons. And you can view this overview episode as kind of a roadmap for our podcast and for the chapter. So whenever you listen, you'll know, hey, this book sounded really good, something I might be interested in, or, oh, because Isaac mentioned this certain thing about this book, I'm not going to listen to this or read it because I know that it won't interest me. So this overview episode is really to guide you in your reading. And again, we've read tons of books. We vetted multiple books for this particular chapter. So we are promising you that you are going to enjoy all 3 books, and you'll certainly get to pick which one interests you the most based on our overview episode if you don't have time to read all 3. The books that we picked this chapter for coming of age were East of Eden by John Steinbeck, Margot's Got Money Troubles by Ruthie Thorpe, and The Roundhouse by Louise Eldridge. And before we get started talking about those 3 books, we just wanted to give you an update on the structure of the podcast. The first thing that we want to try to do, and we're curious to hear your feedback, is giving less spoilers so people can still listen to the podcast, see if they want to read the book based on the conversation, and then go read it and still enjoy the book and not have the whole plot ruined for them. So we'll give that a try. I think we'll at least give a disclaimer when we're talking about a spoiler, so that way you can turn it off or skip through the part we're talking about. So wish us luck with that, because I think it might be more challenging than we anticipate. I'll start us off by talking about East of Eden. This is a complete blast from the past for Phil and I, because we both read it in high school and fell in love with it in high school. And so very happy to have reread it for this and shared it with Isaac. Isaac, I see your note here that I'll just share with everyone. This is maybe your new favorite book. And that might make it.
And I know I say that a lot. I've been also kind of doing some research on the podcast, building the website. A lot of notes about the new favorite book for Isaac popping up. But I promise you those are all fake news or false alarms. This is real.
But you have good taste.
Yeah, so this is the real deal.
Yeah.
This is the real deal.
I believe you, because I also feel that way. I literally texted Phil. I was rereading it, and I actually was kind of least looking forward to reading this of the 3 books that we picked, and I saved it till last. I don't even know why, because it's just so freaking good. So it's kind of a hard story to summarize because it's a generational novel as well. Broad strokes is essentially it follows a man and his brother and then his 2 sons who have a very similar relationship. And they move out to California, live in Salinas Valley. And also tangentially, it follows the actual narrator of the story is the grandson of another of the main characters. So you're getting kind of an interesting perspective. It doesn't sound that interesting when I'm telling you right now.
No, I mean, this is why I think Steinbeck is amazing. I mean, he
Yeah.
goes on so many diatribes that are just wholly uninteresting, and they're
See,
phenomenal.
that's crazy, Phil. We can talk about it more. Like, I got halfway through the book. I'm like, where's the thing that Phil said was so horrible? Like, I
Oh
love
no,
every
that's
word
just
of it.
that's just the first chapter. So I will
And
say
the
Yeah.
the first
chapter's
chapter, I
fast.
commit
No,
to.
the
I commit to
the
that.
first chapter is
Where he's
was
describing
beautiful.
the land.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's much less bad than I remember it being. But no, he goes on so many diatribes that are very uninteresting. He is a phenomenal writer, so I will say even the description of the land, it is not bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys looked it up this time, Phoebe. But so much
about
of
to
that
spoil?
family narrative is true.
Oh, about his
Like
own
his
family.
grandfather is Samuel Hamilton.
Yes.
All of those
I knew
stories
that.
about. Yeah, I did not know that. I knew that his dad was obviously Ernest Steinbeck and his mom
Yeah,
was
because Phoebe, you said the narrator's the narrator is the author.
yeah.
Yeah, but yes, but the way that the story is told, like he's not the main character by any means. So
No.
he's the grandson
No.
of one of the main
He's the narrator.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes a narrator is also involved in the story.
Right, but very rarely is the narrator the author in a fiction story.
Yeah.
Like
That was
Orhan Pamuk was actually also
Yeah.
the narrator
Right.
author, but which is
Right.
also very cool when you sort of
It's
realize
weird that was both. Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
a winner. Yeah. I think that my I mean, we've obviously talked about the writing. I think the ability to so well articulate the complexities of human nature, like I've just never been able to, I've never read a book that does it so beautifully and so well, and has you questioning the characters so much, I think. And I think the negatives might be, like Phil said, you can get off on these these side stories, but I don't necessarily think it's uninteresting or a bad thing. So, but that would be something that could potentially annoy you as a reader, I would say. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that take. I think I'm a very plot-driven reader, and even I was not like, okay, speed it up, John. Like,
Yeah.
it was very good.
Johnny.
I think my positive is the same, actually. I mean, the writing is phenomenal, but the characters are really unparalleled, I think. And it's not even just one character, actually. It's like up to 10 characters are all just very interesting. I think that one could pick a bone with Kathy. I don't feel that way. I think that his characters are nuanced enough that he can have one that is just pure evil. But my
It
biggest
also,
negative.
You have to have that for the deeper meaning of the book. Like, you have to have her as a truly
Yeah.
evil character. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that's a good argument. Yeah. My biggest negative is my wife brought it to my attention, I will say. So I'm actually going to sort of hold it as a dangle
As a
over your
teaser?
head here. But John Steinbeck should have done his reading, I guess, his research, especially if he's going to make his central point biblical. It should be accurate, and it's not, to say the least. So I will say that if you read it from sort of a biblical stance, he gets the Cain and Abel. He misses another story in the Bible that is sort of central to the entire point he's making, which is a bit annoying once you realize it. So.
Well, we'll hear more on the main episode about that. I'm very curious
Yeah,
now
that's
what it is.
interesting.
Yeah.
Isaac, what do you think? Not about what Phil said, but just overall.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think this is an amazing book. I think, yeah, like I said, it is my new favorite book. It'll be going on the top of our ranking list. I think anybody can get something out of this. If I had to, like, kind of try to think of a negative, it would be that this is maybe like a reach negative, but you guys read this in school, so you're reading this and like taking notes and looking for all the symbolism stuff, and that is really good and like probably a point of him reading it. But my opinion is that that does not need to be done for you to enjoy this book as just a great story. And it is like the writing is so good that like I've been thinking about this a lot, but you know, we are really into fantasy, so there's like a lot of action, there's these mythical characters and all this. Like this is just like real life. Yes, some crazy stuff goes on, but like this whole story is not unheard of, and like Phil said, part of it is like
true.
based on stuff that actually happened, and for him to make it a however long of a book this is, and you to be engaged the entire time is really incredible. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. You guys should definitely read this one. It's great.
Yeah, when we started talking about like Americana with Dawn, when we did our America 250, this was the book that came to mind. Like this is it like so beautifully paints a picture of America in that time period, I think. And Steinbeck does that in other books that he writes too. So it's just amazing. I mean, there's a reason he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
So
The backdrop of the American West too is just so great
Cool.
to read
Yes.
about. Like it is definitely a romanticized version of the American West, but I feel like that's what most Americans think of. So it is like cool.
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, very glad you enjoyed it. And then Isaac, did you want to tell us about The Roundhouse, which was a recommendation you actually had coming into this chapter?
Yeah, so The Roundhouse, it's again a coming of age story, and it's kind of like it's more on the mystery side of genres, about a teenage boy who his mother gets assaulted, and they live on an Indian reservation in North Dakota, and he is unsatisfied with the police work that is being done to find the assailant, and him and his friends kind of strike out on their own to solve it themselves. I thought this again was really, really well written, a really great and kind of jarring story, and it highlights a lot of we're trying to get a really good guess for this one because it highlights just the injustices of the native law system and like kind of what happens with the crime and how it's able to be pursued and prosecuted based on where it potentially happened. So that was a really cool, interesting part of the book. And then just like the teenage boy maturing so fast because this really horrible thing happened to his family, but also you're reading like Phoebe, unfortunately, or for not fortunately or unfortunately, you never got to be a teenage boy, but like
I would say it's so
the writing-
accurate. The fact that it's from a woman is mind-boggling
I
to
agree.
me.
Yeah, but like it was so
holy
you
shit.
were just like, wow, this is the quintessential teenage boy growing up
Yeah.
in writing in 200 pages or however. It was a quick it's quick, especially compared to East of Eden. And it was cool that it was written by a woman, and it's like on an Indian reservation in North Dakota, like something 99% of Americans have, or people in the world, less 99.9% of people in the world have no idea what that's like.
Right.
Yet any teenager could read this, and Phoebe, you could probably get this gist by just like having watched us be teenagers. Be like, wow, this
So
is a
accurate.
teenage boy right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
In for a coming of age story, that like is pretty necessary.
Yes.
Like that when you say coming of age, that's what you think of.
More
a
so than the
teenager
other
kind of
two.
growing up, and that just like she nails it.
Yeah. I definitely think more so than the other two, the theme of coming of age comes through for this.
This was the
one.
most pronounced for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other thing I liked about it, kind of what you had mentioned, Isaac, where the injustice was centered around law and order and not living conditions of the native population. I think that alone could have has its own story and has its own place, but that like he was a more well-to-do person on the reservation, So it was truly about like this more insidious issue that was going on that doesn't always meet the eye when you're thinking about the injustices done to Native Americans, which I really liked that it highlighted that. I think the only thing for me was you guys had kind of sold it to me as a not murder mystery, but more of a mystery. And I was excited to read it because of that. I don't necessarily know that I would describe it to someone as that. I think I would describe it as a coming of age more. So there was a bit of a letdown in the mystery aspect for me, but that's, I think, only because I went into it thinking a certain way. That was my only negative.
Yeah, I think for me, I really think the coming of age, especially with teenagers and teenage boys, I also think that it very much goes to something that I personally have struggled with, like myself, and sort of like, when is this like boys will be boys? I know, like, obviously locker room talk and like our president saying grab her butt, that's not a boys will be boys moment.
Yeah.
That's not cool. But like even this stuff where it's like, it's so like the reader is led along, like this is innocent, and then it is not innocent anymore. Like you really see this like innocence of
just
childhood
to be
and
clear, Phil,
sexuality.
you're not talking about the assault at the beginning of the book.
No,
Like, I don't
that
think
is
that's a
never
spoiler.
innocent.
Yeah, just
yes.
to,
that is
because
like
I
first
mentioned
chapter.
that was what the book is based on. So
Sorry.
he's
Yes,
not
thank
talking
you
about
for,
that.
Thank you
There's
for
other
clarifying.
stuff that is going on. Yeah.
No, it is a very, and I mean, you cannot write about an 11, 12-year-old boy without these sort of like sexual like awakenings.
Basically, he's obsessed with his aunt's boobs. That's like, that's all there is.
I mean, that's not literally it though. That's like her point. Like it's, I mean,
know,
it
but-
has way worse effects than that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and I think that like is very well sort of documented. But I think that I also think I loved this one because I was reading it at the time. I was in Glacier and I was on the Blackfoot Reservation, and then which is in like
cool.
Flathead territory, and that was like, I mean, I was just picturing the res that I was on. Like, it was insane. Like, it was so well done. And I know that she's like an Ojibwe in North Dakota, so it's not the same tribe. But she actually does mention Blackfoot in there if you'll pick it up. But so that was very cool, and I think very well documented. My only negative probably, I think, Phoebe, I think your negative was good. If you're looking for a murder mystery, you might be let down a little bit. I think maybe the unidimensional villain, that's like such a cop-out. This guy was like the worst. I mean, he had no redeeming qualities. And I think that just there was no sort of dimensionality there.
I buy
that's
that.
like that's a very subtle thing. I think if you're looking for like an expansive novel like East of Eden, it has a little bit less character development than that, but still, that I'm picking bones there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I can see your argument, but I think that would not bother the average reader. So
Yeah.
Phil, do we want to talk about Margot's Got Money Trouble? This was something that you had recommended to the podcast.
Yeah,
kind
so
of as a
I will
surprise
I know. I will
Definitely
say
a surprise.
I think that Phoebe, I felt the same way. I thought that I was going to reread this one and be like, "Eef," like
why did I
regret
recommend?
making those two reading this. But so basically Margot's Got Money Troubles is a novel that follows Margot. She's a college student at a junior college in California who becomes pregnant after having a relationship, an extramarital affair. Her professor's married. She's not married. And then her professor just sort of distances himself from the baby. She has to raise the baby alone. She gets fired from her job immediately and then has to sort of come up with a way to make money. So she makes an OnlyFans, and with the help of her roommate and her dad, who is a professional wrestler, sort of tries to make money this way. And she sort of faces judgment from the outside and then judgment from within her own family, which leads both to sort of her self-value, but then also some like parental issues with the law as well. So this book, I have rated it higher than East of Eden, which is insane.
Isaac's
I think
nonverbal reaction. Watch the video to see Isaac's nonverbal reaction.
This writing, the first time I read it, did not appreciate it enough. The author does this this is not a spoiler. This is like, you might not have picked up on it, and you should read this and like notice it. The college class that she hooks up with her professor in is a literature class, and they talk about point of view. Throughout the novel, the author then switches from first person to third person point of view, depending on the sort of
the stress,
the personalness, or like her ability to speak about that certain subject. I mean, it's so well done. It's such a smart idea. It's very, very well done. I think this author's ability to paint a father who is an addict, who is helping his daughter run an OnlyFans account. Just imagine that. This guy is so likable. Like, one of my favorite characters. Like, that is insane. I think that his ability to be a sympathetic character is just phenomenal writing. I do think that it is... The last thing about it is it's so approachable. Anyone could pick up this book and read it. It is a book, like, definitely on first pass would just find it a very amusing story. I've never read anything like it. I think that the ability for me to just question, like, what is art? Why do we have these negative views of certain things and not of others? I think all the questions about female rights, like, why are things bad? Her, like, getting sort of stare downs from the people for having a baby, from the people that told her she had to have a baby. Like, that is so poignant. I think from a male who doesn't think about these things a lot, it was just a very good book. I really do like this one, and would recommend it not only to regular people, but also people who are very haughty-taughty about their recs. I think this one's really good.
Yeah. I think, and Isaac, I would be curious. I like glanced at your notes. I think the biggest thing for me, if you have any kind of postpartum anxiety, maybe save this one for when you don't have postpartum anxiety. I don't, but still got so anxious. The idea of her having to leave the hospital alone with this baby, like, that was one of my biggest fears, leaving the hospital with my baby, is like being alone with it. And so that was like stressful. And also there was definitely, at some points I was like, where is the baby? Like, I don't really, it was undersold. Maybe Bodhi was like an easy baby, but I was like, this is like undersold how easily
I think her dad was like a full-time nanny at that point. But I do think you're right, until you realize that.
Partner, like, he was filling in as her partner, which I thought about more and was like, okay, that is believable based on like him legitimately living with her. It wasn't like she was like bringing him over to the house, whatever. Yeah, I definitely think, like, as a new parent, there was a few inconsistencies, but this is one that's not a focal point. Like, if you're focusing on that, you're missing the point of the book. And I think most of it is like for enjoyment, and then there was these deeper issues of the OnlyFans and everything. I really enjoyed it, but I will give those two caveats to it.
Yeah, I liked it way more than I thought I was going to as well.
That's a win.
It's not better than East of Eden, but
factually that's incorrect.
But
I
it
will
is
say
still
objectively you are correct.
Yes,
yeah, it is still like a really good book. I think of all our chapters this year, this chapter we hit on, and I gave this book only 4 stars, and it's for one kind of thing that really really got me that we can talk more about on the major episode, maybe, but I don't want to like give away the book. It's kind of a big part of the book. But I think I thought the writing of the taking care of the baby was
Accurate.
imagining it screaming and her roommates yelling at her to leave the house. One, I like fucking hated the roommates so much. But then I'm like imagining myself. Oh, I hated her mom. Like the characters, she wrote the characters that you could very quickly be like, this girl's a G, or like this girl can go pound sand. Like,
For sure.
but what was I saying? I can't remember now.
You were saying there was one.
Taking care of the baby.
Oh, yeah. They're like in her leaving the apartment at 3 a.m. and just walking because that was the only way to get him to not cry. And like her they're all 20 years old. So like I'm imagining myself in 127 Blair Street, just like with my 7 roommates and a baby. I'm like, and it is like like Phil said, it like brings up these stuff. It's like, yes, you should be sympathetic and helpful. They were complete. I won't say it, but but at the same time, like she had a baby at 20, like you had to have known that this was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
You know?
And
maybe you're 20 years old, you don't know. So it just brings, like, you are thinking about all that. Like, I had this feeling at 32, I'm like, what the hell have I done? The second night when he's like, and I'm just like, stop crying, please.
Yeah.
I thought all that was, like, really good. Maybe it is fresh, like Phoebe said, for me, but I thought that was pretty well written. My negative, is well written, but the overall tone of the book is like this quirky lightheartedness, and like there are some dark and topics. I wrote on my notes here, like I am probably setting myself up to be a hypocrite because there are probably other books that are lighthearted that cover serious issues that I'd like, and I did like this book as well, but like there's enough stuff in here that the lighthearted tone for me, I finished it and I was like, I don't think I should feel as happy as I do, you know, being in this part of the book. Mm-hmm. And that's just, I think, a style choice by the author, and good for her. I think more people will read it because of that. I thought that it shouldn't be that lighthearted. I didn't like that. Yeah.
Interesting. That's an interesting take. I didn't really think about that. I'll be curious to hear more about what you think.
Although I did say I was setting myself to be a hypocrite, I feel like I have been consistent so far. Like we didn't book Thursday Murder Club, the Vera Wong. Like I thought Vera Wong was good, but like the lightheartedness of death is not something. So I think this is in that kind of same vein. Yeah.
I think there's also, and we can get into it more. There's a lot of like triggering topics that could, if you've had that experience in your life. It could be very triggering.
It covers a lot happens. It's like I think that by the book ends, the baby's only 7 months old. Like
but
a lot is going on.
I think I definitely feel very good about this chapter. I think we absolutely crushed the choices. I think the very fun thing as I was listening to us talk about this is that because coming of age is this like very complex time of people's lives, it makes the characters and their issues very complex and interesting. So it gives us a lot to talk about, and I am excited to talk about that with you guys in the coming episodes. And again, this is just a reminder that we are a podcast that talks about books every other week. We are talking about awesome books that we know that you will love. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, if you're always looking for more book recommendations, please follow our podcast, follow our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. We will be there, and subscribe to us. And we always sign off by giving you a bi-weekly reminder to call someone that you love, tell them that you love them, tell them about a good book, and in this case, tell them about our chapter we're doing on coming of age novels. And until we talk again, stay classy, second pagers. We'll see you later.
Let's go beyond
Bye, guys.
the first page.
See you guys.